All right, welcome back to Market Day Report. I'm Scott Shelby, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. We're getting through it here today. This is the last time I'm going to be with you. Maybe not, though. I want you to stick around after the top of this hour, right? When we leave Market Day Report, we start with the Cow Guy Close. That's 1 Central, 2 Eastern. 3 great topics again, 3 great guests. It's a lot of fun. I want you to stick with us again. 1 Central, 2 Eastern, the Cow Guy Close, and that's going to be, in about 15 minutes and 30 seconds from right now. All right, here we go. Let's talk about these markets. So while we're at it, let's take a look at corn. Bring up that corn board. What do we have happening there? It's probably 480 something is what it's going to be. There we go, 480 and a quarter. Almost right on the nose. 2 cents higher. We have not left this area all day long. That one is a very boring trade. 480 and a quarter is last there, right smack dab in the middle of that range of about what? It's a 6 cent, 5.5 cent range. There you go. That's D's corn. Let's move on to take a look at, say, Jan beans. The low of the day was 13 even. We're now at 13 and a half, right? 6 and a quarter cents higher on the day. So we've actually added some real estate to that. 13 and a half is last. That's Jan soybeans again, and that's 6.5 cents higher on the day. And we're about 8 cents off the highs as well. So that's a good, not a bad board. 6 cents, 6.5 cents higher. Let's go to the wheat in Chicago. What's that got for us? That's got a dime loss in Chicago. The D's contract's down a dime, 5.56 even, a penny and a half off the lows. And I don't know, about 12.5 cents off the high. So that'll give you an idea about where we sit there. 10 cents lower, 5.56 is last. The month is December. Let's move on to Kansas City from Chicago. We go. D's there, the hard red wheat, that's down 17 and 3/4 cents to 6.27 and a quarter. Only just less than 2 cents off the low of the day, a penny and a half off the low of the day now. And actually, there we go, 2 cents off the low. And then we're well off the highs by about, 19 cents. How about that? So that'll give you an idea. We're 17 and a quarter cents lower, 6.27 and 3/4 is last. That's D Sweet in Chicago. Let's go to Kansas City. That one is also down a dime. 7.07 and 3/4 is last there. About 4 cents off the lows, 4.5 cents off the lows, and about 9 cents off the highs. 8.5, 9 cents off the highs. So 10 cents lower. 7.07 and 3/4 is last. That's D's spring wheat. Let's take a look at the cotton market, down 136 points. Finally, there we go. I knew it was going to be a new low at one point today. 81.55. That's a new low. That's D's cotton. 136 points lower to 81.56 now. All right, let's bring in Ted Seifried, Zaner Ag Hedge. Ted, thanks for being on the show. He comes to us from Chicago. I knew that was going to be coming. I knew it. All right. Happy Halloween to you, too. Unfortunately, I wear my costume all day, every day, and thank gosh you don't. But anyway, what do you think about these markets? What tickles your fancy?
Well, Scott, it feels like a holiday. We are pretty quiet, as you mentioned. We tried to find some strength in the row crops, corn and beans, specifically coming from beans. And I think fueled by the sale that was announced this morning, but almost 240,000 metric tons of soybeans sold to Mexico. Mexico's a pretty typical buyer of ours, so that's not a real shocker. This is the time frame where they would be making some purchases. So again, it's nice to see, but it's not a game changer by any means. But again, it was a little bit positive. We found some strength. We went right up to the 200-day moving average, sort of failed, and we've pulled back. We're not able to take back all of yesterday's gains. We're not able to take back all of yesterday's losses, which I think is a bit of a concern. So unless we find some strength here on the close, the price action to me just feels like we're still leaning negative here to go into the rest of the week. And then as we get into the rest of the week, the 2 big talking points are going to be what that USDA WASDE report is going to say a week from Thursday. And then, we'll be starting to talk about South American weather more and more. I got to say, there are some people making some big deals about some dryness concerns, both for Argentina and Brazil, and then portions of Brazil and Paraguay being too wet. I really think at this point we're grasping at straws for South American weather at the moment. South American weather, for me, maybe it's not ideal, hardly ever is, but South American weather looks pretty good to me for the moment. Dryness, if it persists, could become an issue, but at least for right now, I don't think we have anything to get too terribly excited about.
All right. Perfect timing. They just gave me the wrap. Always great information, but you need to stay there because we're going to go away. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Ted Seifried, Zaner Ag Hedge out of Chicago. We'll be right back and talk livestock with Ted in a minute. All right, welcome back. Let's talk about the proteins for a second here and see what we've got going on. It's been pretty quiet over there, too. We were just steady a little bit better is how I would have called it. Let's see if we've put any more real estate underneath our wings there, and we really haven't. I guess live cattle, we've got that D's contract up 40 cents. 183.65 is last there in the middle of the day's range. Not a lot going on. Feb's up 77 cents right behind it to 184.75. So as our guest analyst says, it does feel like a holiday there. That's live cattle just a little bit better. You have to go out to the April. That's a $1.15 higher out there, 186.87. So I guess that's a bright spot. Let's take a look and see what we've got going on in the feeders. Nothing, no triple digits there, right? Nothing really going on. Jan's up 55 cents. We call that double nickels on the floor. 237.62 is last, or no, 237.45 now is last there. March is up 52 cents. April up 50. You get the idea. Up about a half a buck across the board in feeders. How about lean hogs? What do they have in store for us? Something similar, but not quite as much. Deese is up 35 cents to 71.52 and a 40-cent gain in the Feb right behind it to 74.77. Let's get back to our guest analyst. He's got about 75 seconds to fill us in on all of his meat knowledge. Ted, thanks for sticking around. What do you make from these markets?
Well, Scott, not much moving today, as you.
Oh man.
So, look, the one thing that we do have that's of significance is that Livestock did go and got into that gap that we left on the Monday opening after cattle on feed 2 Fridays ago. We haven't quite filled that gap. That's a concern, right? You know, they say bear markets don't fully fill gaps. You know, they get into them, fail, and then turn around. So we're kind of on high alert here of this being the near-term high here for cattle. I would like to see a strong finish here in the next few minutes, and maybe some extension tomorrow. But if that doesn't happen, then we have to get a little bit concerned. Feeder cattle are just like acting like nothing's happening. They're just consolidating here at the bottom. Really have not had much of a significant bounce like live cattle have. That's a bit concerning as well. But then look at the hogs. You know, Feb hogs really just continue to find some strength. It's been a good string of 4 or 5 days, and here we are clawing our way back up to the highs after having a little bit of a pullback earlier in the day. So the hogs look good on the chart. I think we've got an extension up to just right around 76 in those Feb hogs, possibly. But yeah, that hogs really fairly impressive bounce here off the lows here at this point.
We'll take it, won't we? Absolutely. All right, appreciate that. Have a great Halloween. I know that those trains out of Chicago after 2 o'clock are hard to get on, that's for sure. Thanks for being on the show. Ted Seifried, Zaner Ag Hedge. He's in Chicago. We're in, I was going to say Mount Juliet. That's where I live.